All right, Stephanie, all you introduce this project to everyone.
Hi, thank you for all being here. This project really speaks to my heart. It's Misadventure's Guide to Ultimate Empowerment for Women. Take back your power and thrive in every area of your life. Where this title came from was after I spoke to Laura. I really have meditated, and this book project is very strong to my heart space. I have always felt that as women, we do not get enough credit in life for what we do. And one of the jokes I always tell my clients is that, you know, if men had to have babies, this world would be depleted because men would not be able to handle having a child. But yet we don't get enough credit for what we do in life, the pain, the suffering, everything that we've endured, that we are still able to shift and move with, kind of like an ocean, right? I mean, we're constantly moving our arms because if we don't, we'll drown. And so this is where this project has come from. And that's why a lot of the titles that you see on this project, the title chapters, are so deep, because I really want every author that wants to be a part of this project to be vulnerable, to say, you know, this is what's happened to me. However, I'm a survivor. And this is how I've survived through this. And as you know, through most of Laura's books, it's a story, and then it's a, well, oh my gosh, I just did
a tool or a strategy or a practice.
We're gonna take a word tool away, because I feel like because everybody's going to be so vulnerable, I don't want the word tool to be there. Laura's amazing with words, as you all know. So she's going to come up with a different word to describe, like, what do you do? For example, when my abandonment issues come up, because we all go through stuff. My life has been through many, you know, challenges, you know, through the time I was born up until this moment. And so my abandonment issues come up, which could be anything. I could be talking to either one of you. And just like with Tiffany, when she was talking about her trauma, all of a sudden my abandonment stuff was like, oh, I can feel that. And so then what do I do to help calm that down? What do I do to help ground myself? What do I do to help shift and move with my traumatic experience, so that I can continue on and not let my experience cause me to be a victim?
And I'm going to add something there, Stephanie. It's super, super important that second section of the chapter be a practical exercise for the reader. Yes. It's not a continuation of the story about, you can tell us about what you do, but then you're actually going to instruct the reader in the practice, like they're sitting in the room with you. And these books stand apart from many anthologies for that reason, because we're actually offering practical toolkits to the world, actual strategies, actual practices, that if you can read the words of the book, then you can actually do what the author is instructing you to do. So super important. I want to be clear about that piece of the chapter.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And so the entire book, I want, my goal is that, for instance, if somebody has been through divorce and I have not, but I'm reading their chapter and then I'm reading their, we're going to say tool for now, I can read it and say, wow, like I feel empowered, I feel inspired. And then I read their tool. And even if I haven't been through divorce, whatever their tool or whatever we're going to change, the guidance that they're giving me, I can still apply to my life. And that's, you know, and it might not fit for every single person that reads every single chapter, but that is the goal, is that we're that vulnerable with our chapters, that at the end, you're not only empowered by how this person was able to, you know, move through this experience to let go of becoming the victim, but they're also teaching you, okay, this is what I've done. This is what I've worked on. This is what I'm telling you. And everybody's different. Maybe it's holding your heart space. Maybe it's meditating. Maybe it's affirmations you're going to share, and how you come up with those affirmations for yourself that might change daily. For me, when it was 25 Tools for Goddesses, I wrote about a letter that I wrote to my mom and how I instructed my readers on how to do that. So everybody obviously is going to be different. There might be some that are similar in their tools, but the main focus is being very vulnerable. For me, I've read stories where I felt that the story was a little too technical for me. it was a little too, I felt like I was talking, like reading something from a therapist. I don't want that. I want the vulnerability aspect of it, because that's what brings us closer as women, is to say that, yes, this person's gone through something and I don't feel alone. So what are your questions? I can go on and on about the book.
So are there any questions about the actual chapter and the theme so far, ladies? Yeah, Linda.
Can it be something that, can it be a piece that was previously published, or does it have to be brand new virgin for this project?
Great question. If it's been published by another publisher, including a blog site, pieces of that story, significant chunks, then I prefer that not be submitted as your chapter, because I don't have permission. So I need it to be unique in that we will be the first book to publish the material. But if you then wanted to take a piece of the chapter that you're submitting for this book and use a paragraph in a blog or use it somewhere on your site or whatever, I don't restrict you doing that. I just don't want it to be published by anyone else before me, because I have no idea if that person or organization gave you permission. I don't see the contract. I don't, unless you can introduce me to the person and get a written statement of permission, that would be a no.
Okay, good.
All right.
Thank you.
But I don't restrict it on the other end, you guys. So like, I don't mind that you're using pieces, and of course you're going to promote with paragraphs and sentences and quotes and all of the things that you do from your chapter. But I think you guys get that. Any other questions about the chapter, the theme?
Even maybe like a chapter topic that you're drawn to. Like I already spoke to Tiffany, so I know like kind of some like where she's heading, which just gave me goosebumps. Linda, is there reading everything that I've been posting on, social media and all that? Is there anything that you were drawn to, or maybe a few topics you were drawn to? And again, I'm open. These are not set in stone, the chapter topics, just so you know. If there's something else that you're like, I went through something traumatic or vulnerable, but she didn't list it, I'm definitely open to like share that with me.
Yeah, you have a long list on our post. And of course, I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and post that list of chapter topics underneath this video for you guys later. So if you're watching this replay, we'll put all of those ideas, but then just a reminder that, Stephanie's open to hearing something that's not on the list. So if you want to check in with her, then you'll be able to do that. So for purposes of mostly Jean and anyone watching the replay, I'm Laura Defranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions. We have published 29 Amazon bestsellers in a row over the last 2 years. It's been quite an amazing journey for me. And I am, question?
Like you're saying about trauma in our lives. I mean, some of it is
barely
personal trauma.
Yeah.
And other things are things we've experienced in our lives that were traumatic, from outside. And, I'm wondering if we handle those differently, like the people closest to us and all, that we tend to give a lot more leeway. Sometimes we're hurt traumatized from people outside our family, friends, group. And it's hard to put that into place.
Yes, I mean, and so she was saying that a lot of times we can feel traumatic from outside of the group, like not just somebody, like we're going to say a spouse or a sibling or, and that's hard to sometimes put into place or into words, the trauma that we're carrying around. Correct? Am I hearing you okay?
Yeah.
So in that, go ahead, Laura.
Little clarity there, because I couldn't hear completely. So there's a couple things. There's your author's story, which is their own story of something that happened to them. And then there might be a story that happened to your inner circle person, your family, your loved one, your friend. It's their story to tell, not yours. So this story needs to be your own story. And y'all, it doesn't need to be traumatic. It could be like the best defining moment of your life kind of story. So we don't always have to talk about a trauma story here. Remember, right? But if it's not your story to tell, then that's going to be a no-go. You can, of course, have characters in your own story, and you can have people that you're talking about, people that were involved, all the things, right? And we'll go through some coaching about how to write your story when there's other people involved in a way that still makes you feel okay about that. But I couldn't hear the whole question, Stephanie. So I just want to make sure I'm answering the right question there.
Yeah, so I think it's from what she's saying is like, it's still your trauma. It's just not like more of a direct trauma. It's trauma that's been experienced throughout life through other variables, correct? And so that's still your story. And again, it's like, I'm not looking for everybody to write the same thing. And again, I want it to be where it's like, this is where I have had trauma. This is where I have felt pain. And this is where I have become the hero of my own story. Because as women, it's like, I can sit there and say, yes, I was conceived from rape. And I can say that's my story, but that's not my story. That's how I came on this earth, but that's not my story. And so I moved and shifted through a lot of, obviously self-awareness, therapy, self-help books, meditation. I can go on and on to explain like how I have created to say, this isn't who I am. This is just part of me, right? This is part of what actually caused me to find my strength and to move and shift from, and to also move with, because it does come up, even when I wrote, it's like, it's a piece of the puzzles as our life is. At the end of the day, that's part of, my hero story as well. So it's not like I want, the story to be a book to be where everybody's reading it and being sad and leaving like, wow, this sucks being a woman. That's not what I want at all. I want it to be an empowering book where we're sharing our vulnerabilities, but we're also sharing like, I got out of this, or I moved with this, and this is how I continue to move with this. Because I don't feel like there's any, maybe I'm wrong, Laura, because I feel like I've never felt like with any situation, it's just like, this is what happened. The door's closed and I'm great. I feel like we're constantly having to move with it. Like I said, like a swimmer, keep moving our arms when stuff comes up and being like, okay, it's coming up for me again. How am I dealing with this? What is that tool piece that I can share that when life gets hard, or when that situation comes up for me, what can I teach the reader on how to move with this, or shift with it, be that swimmer continually so that I don't drown. And, two of you have been in book collaborations before, so I think you get the process of it all. Again, for me, it's definitely, I want it to be where people, every author can be vulnerable, because I'm not looking for the, hey, I had an eating disorder and now I just write down, I don't need food anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not looking for, I want to know, like, why did you have that eating disorder? Like, what was it that made you have the body dysmorphia that caused you to now think you shouldn't eat, or cause you to throw up your food? Like, I want to know that piece, so that if somebody's reading this that has bulimia, or, has body issues, they can read this and say, oh my gosh, I'm not alone in how I feel about my body, or how I have issues with food. I'm not alone with this. And wow, this reader is teaching me, her tools on how she gets through this, because it's still going to be a daily thing. And I realized that recently through a friend of mine, she had this same issue in college. She thought she was done with it, and it's appeared again due to stress in her life. And this is now 15 years later. So we're constantly moving and shifting, but women, when we empower ourselves with our stories, that's how we empower ourselves, together. And that's the main focus, is empowerment. Any questions?
All right, y'all. I started to introduce myself earlier, but then Jean was asking a question, so sorry about that.
Jean, can you hear her?
I want to go over quickly the basic details, things that you guys might really want to know.
Also, because
Oh, sorry.
sometimes we downplay things. When I had the little toy store here, I don't know if you remember that in Syracuse.
Yeah.
I was there by myself one day, and I had been told that, maybe it wasn't a good idea to come in by myself on a Sunday. And so the particular day I was there, a young man came in, and unfortunately, he pointed a gun at me and wanted the money from the cash register. And, it's funny, like the things that went through my mind, what to do, what not to do. I didn't say a word. I just opened the cash register, kind of hit it hard to show him that I was a little angry. And I took out the money and I put it in a pencil box because it was a toy store. And I pushed it over, and he took the thing and he kind of looked around before he left, and he still had the gun pointed. And then he left. And, after that, I had like 2 seconds to think, okay, what do I do next? And I dialed 911 and I said, oh, excuse me, my name is Jean Covios, and somebody just came into my toy store and, they had a gun and they took money. And the lady on the other end who was answering for the police department was saying, lady, that's called armed robbery. The police will be there right away. And it's funny how in my mind, I didn't want to make a big thing out of it. So again, how we're handling trauma is like, I downplay it. That was nothing. You only got like $50. So I'm wondering, if that's wrong I don't know why I feel like that I have to downplay everything. Like, oh, it's not so bad.
Could you hear her, Laura?
Yes.
No.
Do you want to answer?
Yes. I just wasn't sure if everybody could hear her.
Yep, we can hear it.
I mean, I do feel like as women, it's natural to downplay what we've been through, our trauma, because a lot of times we don't want to seem weak or the victim, or there's a lot of women who do get raped and don't say anything because they are ashamed. They feel ashamed about what happened. They feel guilty about what happened. They feel, like that as you're telling the story, it's like, well, I was told not to go in. And then I feel like because of that, that's where your guilt has come from, is that maybe if I listened, this wouldn't have happened. However, in life, we can't control what happens, right? It's like saying, if I wear a certain outfit, do I deserve to get raped? Absolutely not. If you're walking outside naked, I do not feel like you deserve to get raped, right? But then some people will say, because of that situation, oh yeah, she deserved it. No. So yeah, and we can talk definitely more about this because I had no idea that happened. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk more to you about that. And so this is Laura, my publisher. She's going to introduce herself. Go ahead, Laura.
I kind of already did. I don't want it to be on the recording a million times. So you guys, I just want to answer your questions about the project, but I know there's probably some information that you're wanting to have. This project will kick off. We will kick off as a group of 25 total authors in June. And the projected tentative launch date for this project is October. We get together and we do some writing coaching and support in terms of choosing your chapter titles and how you're writing your story, the strategy or practice you're teaching in the chapter. And then we have a bio at the end of the chapter, and we'll help you through writing your bio if you need coaching with that. I've got 2 huge missions for these books. One is to help the reader live in an extraordinary life. And the second mission is to support the business behind the author. And so these books do both things. And they're amazing for that, doing both things. You all are out there changing the world. And I want you and your brave words and your businesses to be supported through the marketing and publicity and exposure that you will get with the book. And so that piece of it is very exciting. I mentioned before, we have 29 Amazon bestsellers. It will be no doubt that this book will be a bestseller with a group effort and a launch team, and all of the things that will actually teach you about book launching are part of this project as well. So the list of benefits is long. And the very first step, if anyone is interested in being an author in this book, is an application process. So I'm going to put it in the chat now for my Zoomers, but I'm also going to put it down into the show notes for those of you who are watching the replay. So if you're interested, you got to fill out the application first. It's how we vet our authors. There are specific questions that we want to know about you. And then Stephanie reaches out at that point, and we will approve the 24 additional authors that will be writing a chapter alongside Stephanie. So I'll pause there and just open it up to any questions you all have about the project in general, the support, the benefits. Stephanie, if there's anything else you want to add in terms of author benefits, please do.
One of my passions, just so you know, is that this book means so much to my heart space. I am a love coach expert. I believe in self-love first. I coach women on dating, breakups, relationships, being single, you know, just taking ownership of who you are and empowering yourself. I've been doing that for over 25 years. I'm also a writer. I've written tons of articles on Hub Pages, just so you know a little bit about my background. And I have another book that's going to be a funny book coming out soon called 99 Types of Guys. And our goal is to hit that in November after this book. So this book's more of a serious, like empowerment, like, oh, here's our vulnerable stories. And the next book is like a funny dating type of book with funny, humorous tips. But the main thing for me is I am having, and I told Laura this, once we select people, I want to have those one-on-one conversations. So even with you, Linda, since I haven't really been able to speak to you one-on-one, I would love to talk to you on the phone one-on-one, because I just want to have that personal connection with each of the authors ahead of time, and to really feel like, where do you see yourself in this book, and what chapters do you see? And I've had a lot of great personal conversations with people that are on board that are not on this Zoom meeting because they've already said yes. And I've already said yes. And then I've also had conversations with people where I didn't feel like they were a great fit because they weren't willing to be vulnerable. And they were like, you know, well, I'm a psychologist. Can I just do it more on that end? And I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for, because I need it to be where you can, you know, like share. And the stories that I fell in love with in 25 Tools for Goddesses, the book I was in, were the stories that people were vulnerable. So that's what I'm looking for. And I have two authors from 25 Tools from Goddesses that are joining us on this amazing journey as well, that I'm super excited about. So yeah, I just want to be able to have those personal conversations. And so even with you, Linda, like totally like get my phone number. I'll get your phone number if you want to talk more one-on-one about, you know, just me and you and just this good fit, and or whether or not you're interested or not, you know, I'm open for that as well. And obviously, Jean, I have your number, so we'll definitely talk today.
And for our replay watchers,
I can talk
Stephanie,
to you
what's the email you'd like people to reach out to on?
I would say do the Misadventures.
Can you say that? Yeah, say it out. Yeah.
Yes. So it's missadventuresseries at yahoo.com.
Awesome.
So MISSADVEN. Oh my God, Ventures, TURESSERIES at yahoo.com.
Misadventure series at yahoo.com, you guys. So if you want to reach out to Stephanie with your interest, and we'll of course have that down below, but if you hear it, you know, you can type it right in too. Awesome.
And if you're deaf, could you type it in the chat for those people?
Yes. I can type.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephanie, Misadventures series. So there's two S's. Yep. Adventures series. Okay.
Yahoo.com.
All right.
That's why I was like, I have to think about my email. I just had surgery like a month ago, ladies. So sorry, I'm still dealing with like the aftermath of stuff. So my brain is here, but a little bit, you know, clouded.
Is there a hyphen between Miss and Adventures? Because I've noticed in other places that there is. Is
So
there
that
a
is from my
hyphen?
website. So if you want to know more about me and my website, it's miss-adventures.com.
Okay,
So that's
okay.
my website.
I put that in the chat too, Linda, if you want
Thank
to
you.
click on it. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then that's also where you can DM me too on Facebook. If you want to direct message me on Facebook, you can always say, hey, Stephanie, it's Linda. I definitely want to chat. Here's my phone number, and we can set up a time as well.
Got
Okay,
it. Thank
ladies,
you.
any questions about the project that we haven't filled in the blanks yet on? Yeah, Linda.
What is the fee?
So it's
fee?
$1,125.
$11.25 is the investment. And I always, hand in hand with stating the investment, remind people that they have a very generous author paperback benefit by being in these. You guys can buy your paperback books at a wholesale cost, usually $5 a piece, between 5 and 6. And then you can sell them to your fans, your beautiful signed copies, for whatever price you feel like. Retail, these books go for about $22, $23. So some authors will sign them and put bookmarks or little cards or discounts on their business. They might put something special in the package. They could sell a signed copy for more than that. Of course, do your math for your shipping, right? So there have been many authors who have made up the investment for the project in book sales and beyond. And that's a benefit that will continue to you beyond the launch, which is an extremely generous benefit.
Yeah,
So,
I bought, well, how many books did I buy? I think about 65. They're already sold out. I have to get more from you, Laura, by the way. And then I made this bookmark of my business, and then on the back is a QR code, which brings everybody to my website. And so that was when I was saying like, hey, come get the book. And of course I signed each copy before I mailed them out. But friends are now like contacting me. They're like, oh wait, I need another copy. I'm like, okay, I need to get an order into Laura like ASAP. So once people know that you have a book and you're signing it, it's crazy. Like I didn't think I was going to go through 65 books that quickly. And I also had a book launching party at my house, and that's where a lot of them went. But now people are asking, like, I don't even have copies. Like I need to get more. So it's a great tool for you. It's a great tool if there's, clients and you want to hand them a free book. All my clients actually bought books, not only for themselves, but for their friends. So it's a great tool. That's what I love. You both have been book collaboration projects before. So I felt like that really helped me as far as, gaining money back, that financial piece back, which was just amazing.
Linda,
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Jean or Tiffany?
I think also the experience that you get from just writing this book and the healing that comes from it is totally worth it too. So there's so many benefits that you get from just writing this book or being a part of it, and being a part of a team is so huge than rather doing it by yourself. So just so many benefits. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in.
Thank you, Tiffany.
I love that. Thank you. I love that.
The process of writing is a healing process, and part of my mission. And sometimes the authors, they sign up, but they don't totally know what they gotten themselves into in terms of the healing space that we hold for the writing itself. It's really important to me to hold that container for people, because I understand that the process is a healing process. And then the other thing that you said about being part of the team, we have the communities that are built around the books, but then we also have this much bigger community now with 29 collaborations, and all of those authors and healers, master teachers, experts, and that community, I believe, is worth the price of admission of a book project, because you all will have people to network with and collaborate with, and oh my gosh, that goes on and on. So Yeah, it's been really a really profound journey for me, and being able to build that community, and I'm honored to be doing this project with Stephanie. So if you guys have other questions, please reach out to either of us. And you heard Stephanie's email. Mine is bewarriorlove@gmail.com. That's all spelled out, bewarriorlove@gmail.com. I'll put it in the show notes for you too. And if you have questions, or you're just ready to fill out the application, you can go for it. And we'll be finalizing the author roster for this book sometime in May. So don't delay, get your applications in.
Application due date is April 9th. And if you know, even if you know somebody, you know, as well as yourself, but you're like, oh my gosh, I have somebody else in mind that would also be great with this book, or, you know, pass it along, please. I would be so honored. And as honored as Laura is to work with me, I can't tell you, like, I'm so honored to work with her. I've always had a dream I was going to work with a woman publisher. I told her this, and I've written a ton, and I've had, you know, a book that, like I said, the 99 Types of Guys, it's been sitting there. And then when I met Laura, and just how she was able to open up my vulnerability with my mom to write that chapter, I was like, she is the magic queen. I felt like she puts fairy dust over me. And I was literally like, oh my gosh, I thought I was done with this, God. And God was like, no, you're not. And Laura's like, no, you're not. And then it came out so organically. I mean, I wrote my chapter in a day and a half, and that wasn't like 24 hours and a half. It was like sitting at a coffee shop for 6 hours, going back for another 2-3 hours, and it was done. My tools took longer because of my tools. I was like, okay, I really want to be very specific on, you know, guiding the reader on what what the tool is. But as far as the chapter, once she kind of took that lock and was like, hey, it's going to be hard, but it's going to feel so good. It did. It felt like an exorcism, Laura, for me, but a good one. It felt like I got it out and I felt good. And, you know, I'm just in a much different place, not only with myself on my own journey for self-love, but also with my mom. So Laura's a great tool. Like if you're stuck and or, you know, you have me, but if you're stuck and you're like, you know, or scared, I mean, she's great, because you're just very grounded and calming. So thank you, Laura, for being on this.
That's the first time I've heard exorcism. That's an interesting choice of words.
It's like an emotional exorcism. It's a good one.
I get it. Any other questions, ladies, before we wrap up? Got your questions answered for now, at least. Okay.
And Tiffany, if you want to talk more, I'd love to talk one-on-one on the phone. I'd love that. So please call me.
Yeah, I will get your number through Messenger on Facebook.
Yes, absolutely. And Jean, I'll definitely give you a call soon.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording for our replay watchers.